Mark Kornbluh, who moved here 5 years ago from Vermont and started a torchwork glass studio in the Mission Arts Building. He makes his living selling his work at galleries as well at fine craft shows. So please support a local artist. Give it up for Mark Kornbluh.
Hello, thank you. Some of these photos were shot by Kyle Bowman. I want to thank him. Okay, that's me on the torch. If you're driving by 9th Street and you see flames in the window, like 9th around the tattoo studio, that's me making glass. Sometimes my daughter's in there with me and my apprentice, Davis. You know, I get a lot of questions when I'm making glass. People say, is that hot? And, or do you ever get burned? And the truth is, yeah, I mean, sometimes, actually every day I get burned. I get burned quite a bit. But it's okay, it's not so bad. You know, it's kind of like, you know, if you're a beekeeper, you get stung, and after a while, you don't really think about it too much. But, you know, if I look like that guy, call these people in, help me out. So what we do at the studio is like pure magic. It's like alchemy. Alchemy, the definition of alchemy is changing base metals into gold. And it really is kind of like that. It's really magical. We take these raw materials, we take these shards of glass and glass rods and pieces of opal and you know, bits of gold and silver, and we forge them in fire, and we create these little objects that have really intrinsic value. They really have value, and it's kind of like making currency. I've said that to my daughter a few times. It's almost like we're, you know, it's kind of a cool thing, you know, to be able to create these little things with intrinsic value. After all, the first currency in this country between the native cultures was glass. You know, it was glass beads. So anyway, it's, you know, I see it in a little bit like currency, but does that cheapen it somehow? That's my question. The idea of art as currency. After all, if I sell my art, am I selling out? You know? And I think this conflict exists, or people perceive a conflict, but I really don't. You know, I see that my relationship between, you know, the way I see art is that art is an expression of pure joy for me. You know, when I create, it's absolutely joyous. And the things that I create, you know, the products of that expression of pure joy bring joy to other people. And, you know, I'll let you read this quote, so. And the other thing is that we're supposed to have fun. You know, don't you think we're supposed to have fun? I mean, life is supposed to be fun. So. People should find a way, maybe not to get rich so much, but they should find a way to do what they love. You know, after all, the money you get from doing the things that you love is it's better somehow. And then you can use it to buy things from real people that derive joy from what they do. Okay, what would happen if you kind of did this thing I was thinking about today, like giving things the joy test? What would happen if you, every time you went to buy something, you gave it the joy test? Was this thing made by somebody who was really happy? You know, this is sort of the definition of right livelihood, the way I see it. Okay. So we think that there's this conflict between doing what we love and doing what we have to do to make money. You know, I think a lot of young people especially, you know, perceive this conflict, or maybe they're told you got to work hard. And these are some people I met at Mesa Verde. Actually, they didn't really have this problem. They integrated creativity in everyday life. This is sort of a modern dilemma that we have. I'll let you read that. Okay. So how do you do it, you ask, you know? How do you do it? How do you make a living doing what you love? You're not going to like it. But I'll tell you, the first thing you have to do is you have to live below your means. You have to get rid of debt, tear up your credit cards. This is what I call the inflation beater. smaller and smaller house every year until you're living, with a hot plate in a one room, but you have to live cheap. And I'll leave you with this idea. If you do things for joy, it would be a better world. After, I guess Adolf Hitler got kicked out of the architecture school, or he didn't make the exam. But what would have happened if Adolf Hitler actually got into the School of Architecture and pursued his love of art and architecture? I mean, the worst thing that could have happened would be like a few more ugly buildings in Linz. So.